You're watching the CG Live podcast. Now, the content for these podcasts are a little bit different than our normal pods as we bring on members and do long-form interviews. These were actually recorded live at our events with members that were going on stage to present. So the content is killer. Enjoy the show. All right, welcome back into the Live Collective Genius podcast. We're at our Q2 event here in Clearwater Beach, Florida. And I couldn't be more excited to introduce my next guest, longtime CG member. I haven't seen him in a long time.
It's been a minute.
This guy out of the back cave. We brought in Mr. Brett Snodgrass. Welcome in, my friend. How are you? Good to see you.
You too, Leon. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Yes.
I know I've been, hiding in the, like I said, at home a little bit. Have my daughter just graduated high school, and
Very cool.
Got
Just
some family stuff. But I'm excited to be back.
Yes.
It's exciting. Feel the energy,
Yes.
the passion in the room.
You got it. All of those things. And you have been a part of this community 10 years?
Actually, I joined in 2016, so it's
Almost 10.
almost
So 9
10
years.
Yeah.
I knew it was at least.
It's crazy when you start measuring in decades.
It is. It just tells me that we're both getting older. But I don't like to say older. I like to say wiser.
Yeah,
my hair,
gray hair.
the gray hair comes in. You've got
Gray
some
hair
of
is
that
some
working as
splendor.
well.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's like,
yes.
Well,
Hopefully, all of those that have gray, that people, especially in this room, will say, I probably need to talk to that person.
Yeah.
Because they've seen, like, my favorite person to go and talk to when I have advice is Micah Self, who we had on yesterday,
Yes.
because he's got all the gray.
That's right. I always love to sit at the feet of someone who's been down the journey before me. I think that's what CG's about.
I appreciate
at
you
the
saying
feet.
that, because
Yeah.
that's exactly why I wanted to have you as a part of this podcast, a live version here that we are. I think you're guest number 9, my friend, in 2 days. This is day 2 of the Collective Genius Q2 event. Brett, who we brought out of retirement for this event, he presented as part of our track presentations on a topic that sometimes we have to spoon feed our real estate investors, because they say, all I want is the practical, the tactical. I need the stuff that'll help me make millions today. And I want to learn what other things are, what is working for other people. But the reality is, in order to scale, you have to become a better leader.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about that on this pod, the live pods, the other pods. Leadership is such an important part of scaling your real estate and business. And that's the topic that Brett just presented on recently here in day 2. And so, Brett, you had your lovely daughter here with you that just graduated from high school. I heard, and I didn't get to see it because I was up here doing the pod, that she presented with you.
She did.
Give us a little bit of a summary of what the presentation was about and how did it go?
Yeah, that was amazing. So I presented on leadership number 1, but I took a different angle. They wanted me to present on how do you lead your business and lead your family. And I thought, what better opportunity to bring my 18-year-old daughter, who just graduated high school 2 days ago, to bring, and she presented with me on that. And so basically, I just went into just what I've done, not only in my business and how to lead them well and pour into my team and to impact them, to inspire them, to encourage them, but also how do you implement that into your home? And I think that's where a lot of us, I work a lot with men. I run a ministry called Iron Deep, and I work a lot with business owner men. And the one thing I truly see a lot is men especially will sacrifice everything for their business, for wealth, for money, for prestige, for all these different things of greatness. But sometimes they sacrifice what's at home within their 4 walls. And that's the things that people never see. So I presented on how do we do that well? How do we take the core values, put them on the walls of our home? How do we take the mission statements and put them into our family? How do we take the identity and the rhythms of business? How do we do the same rhythms within our family, align with our wife? So what great opportunity. And my teen daughter, Kaylin Snodgrass, she got to present for the last 5 minutes on what would she say as a teenager to the parents of these individuals. So she got to share a couple of nuggets of wisdom of what a teen daughter would say to some of the parents in the room. So that was pretty cool.
Love that perspective, especially for those of us that have teenagers
Yeah.
in the house. Mine are a little younger, but I do have at least one teenager in the house. What's the, you didn't get there overnight, right?
Yeah.
We were just talking about, gray hairs in this business. You learn a lot of lessons along the way. Did you have this early on in your 20s and your 30s as you were growing this business? Was this something always important to you?
Yeah. No. Actually not.
No.
Actually not. I think, the gray hairs bring, just the journey of life, brings things into perspective. And my thing is, hey, what is truly important at the end of this all? I think Stephen Covey says, hey, start with the end in mind. Well, start with your end in mind, the end of life. What do you really want? What do you desire? And a lot of people won't say, hey, I wish I worked in the office more, or I wish I did these things. But a lot of people will say, hey, I wish I poured into my children more. I wish I, pursued my wife more. And maybe they'll say some of those different things. I think, early in life we chase success, and that's fine. I did the same thing. But I think, and maybe the second part, we chase a little bit more significance. We chase, how do we impact people more? And that's why I do business, honestly. I mean, I love business. I love leading the people on my team. But one of the reasons what I love more and more, even at this stage of life, is I like to bring in young people, give them an opportunity, show them different things, pour into them, show them how to make money, support themselves. Maybe they can buy a rental property. And that's just some things that keeps me going. If it was all about the money, I probably would have hung up my laces, a while ago.
I think that what you'll see is that most people that are listening to this, maybe they're in their 20s, 30s, or trying to figure this out in their 40s as a business entrepreneur. I think what you'll see is burnout over time, and you've got to take the first step.
Yeah.
In your presentation, did you give some breadcrumbs of the first steps if you're not having that balance of having core values and mission statements only in your business but not in your household? Did you give some breadcrumbs of how you start that process?
Yeah, I did. So for me, let's go back to the business. A lot of us have been coached. We hire a business coach. He teaches us maybe an EOS program or a scaling up program. We design this plan. We design like a one-page plan. Here's our rocks that we're going to accomplish. Here's our goals, our commitments. But I just divided what I call the impact plan. And it's basically, hey, how do I take that same concept, but can I, pour into my family? What do I want to do to grow my marriage this year? And you don't have to do everything, but like, what's one thing that I want to do to pursue my wife? So an example would be, I set up some rhythms with my wife in the past couple of years. We call it the 7-7-7. So basically it's every 7 days we go on a date. And we don't talk, we have a guardrail. We don't talk about work. We don't talk about kids. So like a lot of guys might gas. Yeah. It's like, well, what do you talk about? Well, maybe be curious about each other, discover each other again. Right. So that's just one thing. And then the next 7 is every 7 weeks, we go on one night away. So again, my parents take care of the kids. We go one night away. And then every 7 months, we go on a longer getaway. So that's just a rhythm that we started doing in our life just to kind of, be aligned, be best friends, be, romantic. That's just an example. And there's countless other examples, but it all starts with that plan of the impact plan. How do you want to grow in your marriage? How do you want to grow as a dad? And how do you want to grow as a leader in a business? But like, think of some of these other areas of life that truly matter as well. So
if you're tuning in right now, you're listening and potentially watching the Collective Genius live podcast from our Q2 event in Clearwater Beach, Florida, our CEO and premier event. You probably are wondering why Brett not one time has really mentioned much about the business where he is, where he's operating out of. He's out of Indianapolis and has been a member here for almost 10 years and done thousands and thousands of transactions over the years. But I think it's important that we have members that present on the balanced leadership of life, but also their businesses and how they work hand in hand. You were just mentioning you're intentional. You have a one-page plan, for lack of a better term. You have a one-page plan for your life as well as your business. You mentioned every 7 days a date night. Give me some of your favorites that you've done, because there's somebody right now watching this going, "Hey, do we just do dinner? Do we just what are some of the things that we do to give that balance for those that are married or have significant others in their journey?"
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, we try to mix it up. I mean, if you were to ask my wife, "Hey, what do you want to do more of?" She would say, "I want to laugh more with you." So what does that mean? So on date nights,
you got to get funnier?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But she just, basically what that means is I just want to be playful. I want to not take life so serious because we have a lot of responsibilities, and sometimes we just take life so serious. We're so stressed out. We got anxiousness. We're trying to do the kids right. We're trying to do a business right, and it just gets to be too serious. So that's what she would say. So like we might do, just simple things. I think the older we get, we don't need to do, the Taj Mahal dinners, $200, $300, $400 dinners. We might just take a walk and just talk. We might go dance. We might go bowling. We might go thrift store shopping and try on different stuff. Things that just bring lightheartedness. And again, because a lot of times the date nights, they turn into monotony. They turn into, hey, work, kids. And it just turns into a list of to-dos. What do we need to do? But what can you do playful to discover each other, to like, what do you love? What do you dream about in this season of life? I told the group, I said, I've been married for about 12 years now. And I've been married to 3 different women. They've all happened to be named Karen, which is my wife, because she changes, right? And I have
I didn't know where that was going.
because people change a little bit. They shift. They have kids now. Now they're going through a different season, in their 40s or whatever. Sure. And I have to discover and fall in love with this one, right? This season. How do I do that? So there's always a curiosity and discovery to it all. With my wife and my kids. And that's what we talked about. So
there's a lot there. Obviously, you have 4 kids, right? And so to balance one's time with family, kids, work, all the things, it's not easy by any means. But I do think that if you focus on enjoy as much as you possibly can, and do not underestimate that nugget Brett just gave you, walks, specifically walks in which you're with your significant other, and just talking and setting some guardrails. I think one thing that to add to that that I have found when you're, especially like we've lived in Tampa now for 5 years, and there's still so much of the city that we don't know. And there are times where we'll just go on a walk in a place where we didn't know that was there, right? And you start exploring a little bit, and so you're exploring your relationship, but you're also exploring new things that you might go to that might be a future date night. You walk by a restaurant, you go, I didn't even know that was there. Let's go check that place out. That happened recently where we walked by a newer restaurant and my wife texted Medley's and said, hey, let's do a double date tonight at this place that we just happened to walk by. So don't underestimate those little things. You don't have to do it doesn't have to cost you anything. Just get out and go for a walk.
Yeah. But I also don't want to underestimate, we have alignment meetings too with my wife, and we talk about, hey, what are we going to do this week, or how are we going to handle this particular situation with a child, or this season of life when Caitlin graduates and goes to college, how are we going to handle that? So we do all that as well. And we do talk about business stuff, just not on our dates.
Sure. So let's talk about a little bit of business. You are now here. This is day 2. We are halfway through day 2 here at our 3-day event in Clearwater. Any takeaways so far from the presentation? I know you just watched one with CJ and dispositions. Any significant takeaways thus far?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was in the leadership room, and I was also in a sales room, and just guys are just so many amazing things. I grabbed so many nuggets, and I think one of the things, especially at CG, is we're always trying to recruit the best people. And when we do recruit them, how do we manage them? How do we encourage them? How do we let them live out their purpose and their dreams within our companies? And that's just one thing. I know the Kindle partners out of Chicago, they just did an amazing presentation on a sales manager and how he manages the teams. And he talked about he does ride and refine with his salespeople, which basically once a month he rides in the back of the car with his salespeople, and then does a survey and kind of refines their whole sales process. And they're constantly doing that different things. Sometimes we've been in this game. I mean, I've been doing this for 18 years now, and sometimes we're like, oh, I've learned all the tricks of the trade, and we get just kind of complacent, I guess. And but here, it just pushes you to grow, and that's just one thing I've really learned. AI is in the air, and it's something I want to dig into, and I've been digging into it, but there's just so much there. Sometimes it can be paralyzing and overwhelming, but obviously in the next 5 years, I think this whole game is going to change, and we have to just accept that. And how do we embrace that? Because we've been in this business long enough where things shift, things change, things pivot. You're like, man, I can't do what I used to do.
That's right.
I think the next 5 years, you're going to have to get on that wagon and be like, okay, how do you really utilize this as a tool and not to be overwhelmed and scared by it and what's going to work for you? Now, we've been learning a lot about AI.
I laughed because if you go back of all of the live podcasts that we've shot during this event, and you used AI to find out the word that was most used, it was either technology or AI.
Yeah.
It's here. We have a whole workshop on it tomorrow. We had a workshop at our March event. It is not going away, and it is something that we like to say at the Collective Genius that we are always going to make sure that you are ahead of the game. We can't predict the future, but we can darn sure prepare you for it. And we want to skate to where the puck is going, not to where it is today. And you're right. I absolutely agree with, the next 5 years, it is not going to look the same. Just as 10 years ago when I came into CG and they would just say, do more direct mail.
Right? Yeah.
Do more direct mail. And you would go, okay, I'll do that. And that was easy back then.
Yeah.
But there's
like, imagine like 5 years, imagine 3-5 years from now, we don't have any sales, inside sales, AI's calling. Imagine just the neighborhoods, maybe you got robots doing the mundane tasks, humanoid robots. I mean, it's going to get crazy. Yeah. And I think we have to, can't be scared. We just got to embrace, because that's what's going to happen.
Oh man, I could really, really use a robotic landscaper.
Yeah.
Man. I would love where I didn't have to deal with that.
Yes, the lawn mowing goat. I think they have the robotic lawnmower right now.
That would really be awesome to have. Our guy just seems to show up anytime I'm at home and have an important Zoom call. And that guy shows up. Get the robot out there at night. That's
midnight.
Silent.
Yeah. Silencer lawnmowers.
Before I get you out of here, I'd love to know what you're most excited about right now. Whether it's your men's group, your any podcast that you're doing, what you're most excited about?
Yeah. So about 2 years ago, again, I'm kind of in that season of just more impact and significance over profit. I mean, I love making money. I love, building wealth and building and creating things. But more than that, I just love pouring into people. So I started a men's group or a men's organization. So it's Christian men's business owners called Iron Deep, and I'm really excited about that. We have at least 1 or 2 big events a year. We call them the Men's Awakenings. Typically, they're off the beaten path. They're in a big log cabin, and it's a faithful group, very raw, vulnerable. But more excited than that, I've been walking with 12 of those guys for the last 18 months, and I just love those guys. We just go deep in relationship, brotherhood. That's one thing I'm really excited about. And in the business world, I'm doing the same things. Like, I'm just hired 2 or 3 young men to come in, and I love mentoring. I love pouring into these guys, and because I can just see myself in them. Whether they're 40 or they're 24. And they're passionate, and I just love. Again, I love sitting at the feet of wiser people. Hopefully, I can be that Yoda to them as they sit at my feet.
Yeah, I think at this age, the best thing I can be called is Unc. I got a bunch of young men that call me Unc, which is short for uncle for those that are not as hip as I am.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things to be called, because that is not. I was always the youngest person to do things, and to be now in that mentor phase, it is really. It's a lot like what CG is, right? We give value first, and then we know that we'll have relationships that we'll build that will be beneficial to us and beneficial to our businesses and to our life. But if you lead with giving value first, you will become Unc. Hopefully that you've got enough scars that you can share the battle wounds of what not to do, and give people the blueprint for not only their business, but hopefully for their life as well. And I see a lot of that in you, my friend. I've seen that from very early on when I started on this side of the business. All your presentations were almost always, hey, we got a good business, but there's got to be more. And I feel like your presentations were always driven towards more of the leadership, more of the impact presentations. And I always truly appreciate you and Micah Self used to always win belts because you guys had those impact presentations. So I appreciate those presentations that are just different than the practical tactical.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're listening out there, I mean, number one, you got to get in a group. You got to sharpen each other. Iron sharpens iron. We sharpen each other. That's what CG is all about. Getting in the group, learning, growing. I tell the guys in my group, like, this isn't a country club. We're here to build a relationship. We're also here to grow. Like, we want to grow in business and in life. And so get in a group. Make sure it's CG or something else. It's just really, really important. And I love the mentorship relationship. So have a mentor and be a mentor. So make sure you're sitting at someone's feet and someone's sitting at your feet. I think it's just so important. It just brings that life. So I would just encourage all the audience to find that in your life. So.
Well said. It makes you better. I coach basketball because my mentors were mostly basketball coaches. I coach to give back, to pay it forward. And it just makes you better when you are, because you show up and you've got to be on at all times. And when you're on more than you're off, you have no choice but to become better at what it is that you're coaching or mentoring in. So as always, my friend, I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Leon.
Thank you for joining
I appreciate
us.
it.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
This has been a wonderful visit. And we do have one more, CJ Moss, who just did a great presentation on Dispo. He brought a ton of energy, and he will bring a ton of energy too. I'll wrap up today with 2 former college basketball players.
Nice.
CJ played Division II.
He's a little bit better in shape. He's a little bit better physical shape than I've been.
Both of us, that's for sure.
You'll see that.
That's for sure. So Brett just said, if you want to get into a community and CG resonates with you, we'd love to see an application from you. You can find that at explorecg.com. Go there, find out more information. And if you're a full-time real estate investor looking for a community with a bunch of mentors that will pour into you to help you grow and scale not only your business, but also your life, love to have you. Apply at explorecg.com. That's it for now. We'll see you on the next live CG podcast.
Are you ready to scale your real estate business? Visit explorecg.com, where real estate investors come to scale. Subscribe to the Collective Genius podcast and hit the bell icon to be notified when our next episode releases. And thanks for listening. This podcast is for informational purposes only. Past performance does not guarantee future results, and the opinions expressed by the hosts and participants are their own. The Collective Genius is not liable for any direct, indirect, consequential, or other damages resulting from reliance on the information shared in this podcast.